May 12, 1944. 180 miles northeast of the Admiralty Islands, Pacific Ocean. Commander Yoshitaka Takeuchi adjusted his periscope for the third time that morning, scanning the empty waters from the conning tower of the Japanese submarine I-16. Through the salt-stained lens, he could see nothing but endless blue stretching to the horizon, exactly as planned for the most sophisticated underwater defense network in naval history. "Signal lamp ready, sir," reported Petty Officer First Class Hiroshi Nakamura, manning the communication station in the cramped control room below. "All stations of the NA patrol line report positions maintained. The American fleet will never break through our underwater wall." What Commander Takeuchi didn't know, what none of the Japanese submarine commanders positioned along the 300-mile defensive line could have imagined, was that 50 miles to the southeast, an unremarkable American destroyer escort was about to begin the most devastating anti-submarine campaign in naval history. The USS England, DE-635, displacing just 1,400 tons and mounting a revolutionary weapon system, would sink 6 Japanese submarines in 12 days, a feat that no warship before or since has ever matched. The mathematics of submarine warfare were about to be rewritten by advanced technology, superior intelligence, and tactical innovations that would transform underwater combat from a game of patience into systematic destruction. Within 2 weeks, the entire Japanese NA submarine patrol line would be eliminated, their underwater fortress reduced to wreckage scattered across the Pacific floor. But first, let me ask you to join our community of history enthusiasts by hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications. Your support helps us bring these incredible stories to light. If this tale of naval innovation amazes you as much as it does us, give this video a thumbs up and share it with anyone who appreciates military history at its finest. Now back to our story of how one American destroyer changed the course of submarine warfare forever. Japanese confidence in their submarine superiority wasn't misplaced arrogance. It was earned through 2.5 years of underwater warfare that had established the Imperial Navy's submarine force as the most effective in the Pacific. Since Pearl Harbor, Japanese submarines had sunk 184 Allied vessels, totaling 907,000 tons, including the aircraft carrier USS Wasp and the heavy cruiser USS Indianapolis predecessor, demonstrating capabilities that Allied anti-submarine forces seemed powerless to counter. The technical specifications told a story of systematic Japanese advantage in underwater warfare. The I-class submarines like Takeuchi's I-16 displaced 2,584 tons submerged, carried 20 torpedoes, and possessed a range of 16,000 miles, capabilities that exceeded most Allied submarines, while maintaining stealth characteristics that made detection extremely difficult. More importantly, Japanese submarine doctrine emphasized patience and positioning that exploited Allied weaknesses in anti-submarine warfare. Commander Takeuchi had studied American convoy patterns for 18 months, learning to position his boat along predicted routes where merchant vessels and their escorts would pass within optimal torpedo range. Captain Tomotsu Takagi, commanding Submarine Squadron 7, had codified these tactics in training manuals that transformed submarine warfare from individual hunting into coordinated pack operations. American anti-submarine tactics remained primitive and predictable. Their destroyers employ obsolete depth charge patterns that assume static targeting. We maintain mobility and communication that allows multiple submarines to coordinate attacks while evading retaliation. The NA patrol line represented the ultimate evolution of Japanese submarine strategy, a defensive network of 6 submarines positioned to intercept any American fleet movement toward the Philippines or Japanese home islands. Each boat maintained station along a 50-mile front, creating overlapping patrol zones that no surface force could penetrate without detection and coordinated attack. Lieutenant Commander Noboru Yura, Operations Officer for the 6th Fleet Submarine Command, had calculated the mathematical advantages of the patrol line system. American forces cannot approach Japanese defensive perimeters without crossing our submarine barrier. 6 boats positioned optimally can engage targets from multiple angles while maintaining communication that coordinates attacks and prevents mutual interference. The individual submarine commanders representing this underwater fortress were among Japan's most experienced and successful officers. Commander Takeuchi of I-16 had sunk 11 Allied vessels during his previous patrols. Lieutenant Commander Katsuo Ohashi of RO-106 had achieved 7 confirmed kills. The combined experience of the NA patrol line exceeded 50 successful attacks against Allied shipping and naval forces. More significantly, Japanese submarines possessed technological advantages that Allied anti-submarine forces had proven incapable of countering effectively. The oxygen-powered Type 95 torpedo traveled at 49 knots with minimal wake signature, making evasion nearly impossible once launched. The submarine's electrical systems allowed silent running that could evade sonar detection while maintaining combat capability. The intelligence network supporting Japanese submarine operations seemed comprehensive and effective. Reconnaissance aircraft provided advance warning of Allied fleet movements, while radio intercepts revealed American operational patterns that allowed optimal positioning for submarine attacks. Admiral Takeo Takagi, commanding the 6th Fleet from his headquarters at Kure, reviewed intelligence summaries with confidence that reflected 2 years of submarine success. American anti-submarine capabilities remain inadequate against coordinated submarine operations. Their escort vessels employ predictable search patterns, while our boats maintain tactical flexibility that exploits their methodical approaches. The depth charge technology that equipped American destroyers seemed primitive compared to Japanese submarine survivability. Standard depth charges required precise positioning above target submarines and detonated at predetermined depths, creating destruction zones that experienced submarine commanders could avoid through evasive maneuvering. Commander Takeuchi had survived 17 depth charge attacks during his career, learning to exploit American tactical limitations through radical course changes and emergency diving procedures that carried his boat below the effective range of conventional explosives. American destroyers telegraphed their intentions through sonar searches that revealed their positions and intentions. Takeuchi explained to his officers during their final briefing before taking station, "We maintain silent watch until optimal attack. Positions are achieved, then strike before enemy escorts can react effectively." The communication systems linking the NA patrol line submarines provided coordination capabilities that American forces had never encountered in anti-submarine warfare. High-frequency radio communication allowed real-time intelligence sharing while maintaining submerged operations that preserved stealth advantages. The psychological advantages were equally important. Japanese submarine crews possessed morale and confidence, built on consistent success against Allied forces throughout the Pacific campaign. They viewed American anti-submarine efforts as systematic failures that proved Japanese technological and tactical superiority. Petty Officer Nakamura, monitoring radio communications from the 6 patrol line submarines, exemplified Japanese confidence in underwater superiority. American destroyers hunt submarines like blind men searching for shadows. Our boats coordinate attacks while remaining invisible to their primitive detection equipment. Victory is mathematical certainty when superior tactics meet inferior opposition. The strategic positioning of the NA patrol line created what Japanese planners considered an impregnable underwater barrier, protecting their most critical supply lines and naval bases. Any American fleet attempting to advance toward the Philippines would face coordinated submarine attacks from optimal positions with overwhelming tactical advantages. The stage was set for what Japanese naval intelligence believed would be another demonstration of submarine superiority over Allied anti-submarine forces. The NA patrol line represented the pinnacle of underwater warfare technology and tactics, manned by experienced crews using proven weapons against enemies who had consistently failed to develop effective countermeasures. What they couldn't anticipate was that American naval intelligence had already broken their communication codes, revealing submarine positions with precision that made their coordinate system a liability rather than an advantage. More critically, the USS England carried revolutionary anti-submarine weapons that would transform underwater hunting from reactive depth, charging into proactive destruction of submerged targets. The underwater fortress was about to encounter technology and tactics that would render Japanese submarine advantages obsolete, beginning a systematic elimination that would rewrite the mathematics of anti-submarine warfare forever. Japanese confidence in submarine warfare supremacy wasn't theoretical. It was written in blood across 2.5 years of systematic destruction that had established the Imperial Navy's underwater fleet as the most lethal submarine force in the world. From the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor to the methodical strangulation of Allied supply lines across the Pacific, Japanese submarines had achieved kill ratios and operational success that redefined the possibilities of underwater warfare. The statistical reality supported Japanese confidence with mathematical precision. Since December 7, 1941, Imperial Navy submarines had sunk 184 Allied vessels, totaling 907,000 tons of shipping, more tonnage destroyed than any other submarine force in history. More significantly, they had achieved these results while maintaining loss ratios that averaged 15.1 in their favor, demonstrating tactical and technological superiority that Allied anti-submarine forces seemed powerless to counter. The secret lay in systematic innovations that had revolutionized underwater warfare across every parameter that mattered in actual combat. Japanese submarines possessed range capabilities that allowed Pacific-wide operations, torpedo technology that ensured target destruction, and stealth characteristics that made detection nearly impossible for conventional anti-submarine methods. Commander Mochitsura Hashimoto, commanding the submarine I-58 that would later sink the USS Indianapolis, exemplified Japanese submarine excellence in his tactical manual distributed throughout the underwater fleet. The Imperial Navy submarine represents perfection in underwater warfare design. Superior range allows strategic positioning beyond enemy detection capabilities. Advanced torpedo technology ensures target destruction with single salvos. Stealth characteristics make retaliation impossible. The technical specifications told a story of systematic Japanese advancement beyond Allied capabilities. The I-class submarines displaced 2,584 tons submerged, carried 20 Type 95 torpedoes, and possessed operational ranges exceeding 16,000 miles, performance that surpassed American fleet submarines while maintaining silence characteristics that defeated sonar detection. More devastatingly effective was the Type 95 torpedo itself, powered by pure oxygen that left no wake signature while traveling at 49 knots over ranges exceeding 9 miles. Each torpedo carried a 1,210-pound warhead, capable of breaking the back of any Allied warship, delivered with accuracy that made evasion virtually impossible once launched. Admiral Koshiro Oikawa, commanding the 6th Fleet submarine operations, had documented Japanese technological advantages in assessments that captured the mathematical impossibility of Allied underwater defense. American anti-submarine capabilities remain primitive and ineffective against coordinated submarine operations. Their depth charges require precise positioning over target submarines, while our boats maintain mobility that makes accurate depth estimation impossible. The tactical innovations developed around Japanese submarine capabilities had created underwater warfare doctrine that Allied forces couldn't counter through conventional methods. The emphasis on patience and optimal positioning allowed Japanese commanders to select engagement conditions that maximized their advantages while minimizing exposure to retaliation. Lieutenant Commander Zenji Abe, instructor at the submarine school at Kure, had codified tactical principles that transformed underwater warfare from individual hunting into coordinated scientific operations. Success in submarine warfare requires perfect positioning, patient observation, and precise execution. American anti-submarine forces employ predictable search patterns that reveal their intentions. We exploit these patterns through calculated positioning that ensures optimal attack angles while maintaining escape routes. The operational record validated these tactics with consistent success against Allied forces across every theater where Japanese submarines operated. In the Solomons campaign, submarines had sunk multiple Allied warships, including the carrier USS Wasp and destroyer USS O'Brien, demonstrating capabilities that had forced American naval operations to avoid entire ocean areas. The communication systems linking Japanese submarines provided coordination advantages that Allied forces had never encountered in anti-submarine warfare. High-frequency radio networks allowed real-time intelligence sharing between boats while maintaining submerged operations that preserved stealth advantages. Captain Hanku Sasaki, commanding Submarine Division 30, had developed communication protocols that enabled multiple submarines to coordinate attacks without revealing their positions to Allied monitoring. Our radio procedures allow tactical coordination while maintaining operational security. Multiple boats can share targeting information and coordinate attack sequences that overwhelm enemy escort capabilities. The psychological warfare value of Japanese submarine operations extended beyond tactical victories to encompass systematic demoralization of Allied merchant marine and naval personnel. The knowledge that Japanese submarines could strike anywhere in the Pacific with virtual impunity had created fear responses that affected Allied operational planning. Across all maritime activities, the training standards supporting Japanese submarine excellence exceeded any military submarine program in existence. Submarine commanders completed 3 years of specialized instruction, including advanced navigation, torpedo firing solutions, and underwater tactical maneuvering that produced officers capable of extracting maximum effectiveness from their advanced equipment. Commander Takeuchi, leading the I-16 on the NA patrol line, exemplified Japanese submarine professionalism through 180 hours of periscope training, 240 hours of torpedo attack simulations, and 300 hours of emergency diving procedures that enabled optimal performance under combat conditions. Japanese submarine crews represent the elite of naval warfare, Takeuchi noted in training reports. Each officer understands submarine capabilities completely and possesses tactical knowledge that American submarine commanders cannot match through their abbreviated training programs. The industrial capacity supporting Japanese submarine operations seemed adequate for strategic requirements while maintaining quality standards that produced consistently superior vessels. Japanese shipyards employed traditional construction methods that emphasized craftsmanship over mass production, creating submarines that operated reliably for extended periods without maintenance support. The Kawasaki shipyard at Kobe produced I-class submarines using hand-fitted components and individual attention to detail that resulted in vessels capable of sustained Pacific operations lasting up to 4 months. Each submarine represented 200,000 hours of skilled construction time, but the result was underwater warships that exceeded American production submarines in virtually every performance category. The strategic employment of Japanese submarines had achieved results that validated underwater warfare as a decisive factor in Pacific operations. The systematic attack on Allied supply lines had forced convoy operations that reduced shipping efficiency by 40%, while requiring escort vessels that could otherwise support offensive operations. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, before his death in April 1943, had recognized submarine warfare as Japan's most cost-effective method for challenging Allied material superiority. Our submarines achieve strategic impact that exceeds surface fleet capabilities while requiring minimal resources and maintenance support. Each successful submarine patrol disrupts Allied operations worth millions of dollars while risking only single vessels and crews. The intelligence network supporting Japanese submarine operations provided targeting information that allowed optimal positioning against Allied shipping and naval movements. Reconnaissance aircraft, radio intercepts, and agent networks combined to create submarine positioning that maximized encounter probabilities while maintaining operational security. By May 1944, Japanese submarine tactics had evolved to incorporate lessons learned from 30 months of continuous Pacific warfare. The NA patrol line represented the culmination of this tactical development, a coordinated defense system that positioned multiple submarines along predicted Allied approach routes with overlapping coverage that made penetration seemingly impossible. The individual submarine commanders manning the patrol line represented the finest underwater warfare expertise in the Imperial Navy. Their combined experience totaled 47 successful attacks against Allied shipping and warships, demonstrating proven capability to execute the tactical coordination that made the patrol line concept effective. Lieutenant Commander Noboru Ura, planning the NA patrol line deployment, had calculated mathematical advantages that seemed to guarantee success. 6 submarines positioned optimally along American approach routes create overlapping engagement zones that ensure multiple attacks against any enemy force attempting penetration. American anti-submarine capabilities cannot counter coordinated attacks from multiple boats, maintaining tactical flexibility. The confidence was justified by operational reality. No Allied force had successfully penetrated a Japanese submarine patrol line without suffering significant losses. The combination of superior submarine technology, advanced tactical coordination, and experienced crews had proven consistently effective against every anti-submarine method that Allied forces had attempted. What Japanese submarine commanders couldn't anticipate was that their communication systems, viewed as tactical advantages, had been completely compromised by American codebreakers who could predict submarine positions with precision that made coordination a liability rather than an asset. More critically, a new generation of American anti-submarine weapons was about to encounter Japanese submarines using technologies that rendered traditional evasion tactics obsolete. The supremacy that had dominated Pacific underwater warfare for 30 months was about to meet innovation that would transform submarine hunting from reactive depth charging into proactive target destruction. May 19, 1944, 0347 hours, 200 miles northeast of Manus Island. Lieutenant Commander Walton B. Pendleton studied the decoded Japanese radio intercept on his chart table aboard the USS England, the intelligence revealing submarine positions with precision that would have seemed impossible just months earlier. The I-16, commanded by Yoshitaka Takeuchi, was maintaining station exactly where American codebreakers had predicted, 15 miles dead ahead. General quarters, Pendleton announced over the ship's communication system. All hands man your battle stations. This is not a drill. We have positive submarine contact based on intelligence intercepts. What Commander Takeuchi couldn't know as he maintained his patrol position, according to Japanese naval communications, was that his submarine's location had been precisely plotted by American cryptanalysts at Station Hypo, who had broken Japanese naval codes with such completeness that every movement was predicted hours in advance. The USS England represented a revolution in anti-submarine warfare that Japanese submarine tactics had never encountered. At 306 feet length and 1,400 tons displacement, the destroyer escort seemed unremarkable compared to fleet destroyers, but it carried technological innovations that would transform underwater hunting from reactive pursuit into systematic destruction. The key lay in the Hedgehog anti-submarine mortar system mounted forward of the bridge, 24 spigot mortars that fired contact-fused projectiles in a 140-foot diameter pattern ahead of the attacking ship. Unlike conventional depth charges that detonated at predetermined depths, Hedgehog projectiles exploded only upon direct contact with submarine hulls, providing immediate confirmation of target destruction. Lieutenant Hugh Miller, the England's anti-submarine warfare officer, had trained extensively with the Hedgehog system at the Anti-Submarine Development Detachment in San Diego. The Hedgehog changes everything about submarine hunting. Instead of dropping depth charges over where we think the submarine was, we fire projectiles at where the submarine actually is. Contact detonation means every explosion indicates a direct hit. The sonar technology supporting the England's operations represented another crucial advancement beyond Japanese countermeasures. The QHB sonar system provided bearing accuracy within 2 degrees and range determination within 50 yards. Precision that allowed Hedgehog firing solutions with mathematical certainty of target engagement. At 0352 hours, Sonarman First Class John Morrison reported the first contact. Submarine bearing 045 degrees relative, range 1,800 yards, target moving left to right at estimated 6 knots submerged. The ease-or engagement that followed would rewrite the mathematics of anti-submarine warfare. Instead of the traditional depth charge run that announced the attacker's presence and allowed submarine evasion, the England maintained sonar contact while maneuvering into optimal Hedgehog firing position. Commander Takeuchi, monitoring his hydrophone equipment, detected the approaching destroyer at 1,200 yards range and immediately ordered emergency evasive procedures. Hard left, rudder, dive to 300 feet, all ahead flank. American destroyer approaching from starboard quarter, but the tactical situation had fundamentally changed from previous submarine encounters with Allied anti-submarine forces. The England's sonar maintained positive contact through the submarine's evasive maneuvers, tracking the I-16's position with precision that made traditional escape tactics ineffective. At 0356 hours, Lieutenant Commander Pendleton ordered the attack. Fire Hedgehog, full pattern, bearings 038 degrees, range 800 yards. 24 projectiles arced through the pre-dawn darkness, their trajectories calculated to intercept the submarine's predicted position 15 seconds after firing. The contact-fused warheads would detonate only upon striking the submarine's hull, eliminating the wasted explosions that characterized conventional depth charge attacks. The first explosion occurred at 0356:23, followed immediately by a second detonation that confirmed direct hits on the I-16's pressure hull. The 35-pound explosive charges, designed specifically for submarine destruction, penetrated the steel plating and detonated inside the boat's compartments. 2 explosions, sir, reported Morrison from the sonar station. Target contact lost, massive debris field rising to surface. Commander Takeuchi's submarine, veteran of 11 successful attacks against Allied shipping, had been destroyed in less than 4 minutes of engagement, faster than any submarine kill in Pacific warfare. The systematic application of advanced technology and superior intelligence had eliminated an experienced enemy crew before they could employ traditional evasion tactics. The debris field that surfaced confirmed the complete destruction that Hedgehog projectiles could achieve through direct contact detonation. Oil slicks, wooden fragments, and personal effects from the I-16's crew provided physical evidence of precision anti-submarine warfare that previous depth charge attacks had never accomplished. Lieutenant Miller documented the engagement in the ship's war diary with professional satisfaction. Hedgehog attack resulted in positive submarine destruction, confirmed by debris field and oil slick. Time from initial contact to target destruction, 4 minutes 12 seconds. Ammunition expenditure, 24 projectiles. Result, 1 Japanese submarine eliminated. But this was merely the opening engagement in a systematic campaign that would revolutionize anti-submarine warfare across the Pacific theater. The England's success demonstrated that advanced technology, combined with superior intelligence, could transform submarine hunting from uncertain pursuit into mathematical certainty of target destruction. The psychological impact on the remaining Japanese submarine commanders was immediate and devastating. Radio intercepts monitored by American intelligence revealed growing concern among NA patrol line boats as the I-16 failed to report its scheduled position updates. Lieutenant Commander Katsuo Ohashi, commanding the RO-106 submarine 50 miles southwest of the I-16's last reported position, transmitted increasingly urgent requests for communication. I-16 station, respond immediately. Report current position and operational status. The silence from Takeuchi's boat created the first crack in Japanese submarine confidence that had dominated Pacific underwater warfare for 30 months. The systematic elimination had begun, though the surviving submarine commanders didn't yet understand the technological revolution that would make their proven tactics obsolete. The England's crew, meanwhile, was already analyzing the next target. Cryptanalysts aboard the destroyer Escort were decoding Japanese submarine communications that revealed the exact positions of all 5 remaining NA patrol line boats, intelligence that would enable systematic engagement of each submarine with the same precision that had destroyed the I-16. Captain Kenneth Hartley, commander of Escort Division 39 that included the USS England, observed the technological transformation with strategic understanding. The Hedgehog system has fundamentally changed anti-submarine warfare from reactive pursuit to proactive destruction. Combined with communications intelligence that reveals enemy positions, we can systematically eliminate submarine threats with unprecedented efficiency. The industrial production supporting this technological advantage was equally revolutionary. American shipyards were producing destroyer escorts at rates of 15 per month, each equipped with advanced sonar and Hedgehog systems that exceeded Japanese submarine countermeasures. The England represented not just individual technological superiority, but systematic application of American industrial capacity to underwater warfare. The training standards that had prepared the England's crew for anti-submarine excellence exceeded Japanese submarine training in specialized technical areas critical for modern underwater warfare. Each sonar operator completed 240 hours of instruction in target identification and tracking, while Hedgehog crews trained until firing solutions became automatic responses to sonar data. Ensign Robert Roberts, Assistant Anti-Submarine Warfare Officer, had graduated from the Fleet Sound School at Key West with technical knowledge that surpassed Japanese submarine officers in acoustic detection and underwater fire control. We understand submarine acoustics and evasion patterns better than the enemy understands their own capabilities. Our training emphasizes scientific approaches to submarine hunting that eliminate guesswork from tactical decisions. The communications intelligence supporting the England's operations provided targeting information with precision that Japanese submarine commanders couldn't comprehend. Every radio transmission, position report, and tactical communication was being intercepted, decoded, and analyzed by cryptanalysts who could predict submarine movements hours in advance. The transformation was complete and irreversible. Traditional submarine warfare based on stealth and evasion had become obsolete when facing advanced detection technology and forward-firing weapons that ensured target destruction. The England had drawn first blood in a systematic campaign that would eliminate the entire Japanese NA patrol line through technological and tactical superiority that rendered traditional underwater warfare tactics ineffective. The hunt was accelerating, powered by American innovation and intelligence capabilities that transformed submarine destruction from uncertain pursuit into mathematical certainty. May 22, 1944. 02:15 hours, Pacific Ocean, 150 miles southeast of Manus. The USS England's sonar dome cut through dark waters with mechanical precision, hunting its third submarine in 4 days with the methodical efficiency of an industrial process. In the CIC, Combat Information Center, Lieutenant Commander Pendleton studied intelligence reports that revealed the remaining Japanese submarine positions with such accuracy that anti-submarine warfare had become systematic extermination. Contact bearing 127 degrees relative, range 2,400 yards, reported sonarman Morrison, his voice carrying the confidence of a crew that had already proven their technological superiority twice in the previous 72 hours. Sound characteristics consistent with RO-class submarine, estimated speed 4 knots, submerged. The target was RO-106, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Katsuo Ohashi, a veteran submarine officer with 7 confirmed kills who was about to discover that traditional Japanese submarine tactics had become obsolete against American technological innovation. What Ohashi couldn't know was that his position had been precisely plotted through decoded communications, making his submarine a target in a systematic elimination that would rewrite the mathematics of underwater warfare. The England's success rate was unprecedented in anti-submarine warfare history. In 4 days, the destroyer escort had sunk 2 Japanese submarines using advanced tactics that combined communications intelligence with revolutionary weapons technology. The Hedgehog system had proven that contact-fused projectiles could achieve submarine destruction rates that conventional depth charges could never match. Range closing to 1,800 yards, Morrison continued, tracking the submarine's movement with sonar precision that eliminated the guesswork that had characterized earlier anti-submarine operations. Target maintaining course and speed. No indication of detection. The psychological transformation aboard the England reflected growing confidence in technological systems that made submarine hunting a scientific process rather than uncertain pursuit. Crew members who had entered anti-submarine warfare expecting prolonged searches and uncertain outcomes had discovered that superior equipment, combined with intelligence advantages, could guarantee target destruction. Lieutenant Miller, coordinating the Hedgehog attack, had developed firing procedures that maximized the probability of submarine destruction through systematic application of acoustic data. We maintain sonar contact throughout the approach, calculate the submarine's projected position, and fire projectiles to intercept that position with mathematical precision. The contact detonation confirms immediate target destruction. At 0227 hours, the England reached optimal firing position 800 yards from the RO-106's calculated location. The Hedgehog system rotated into firing position as the ship maintained course and speed that kept the target within the 140-foot diameter impact pattern. "Fire Hedgehog, full pattern," Pendleton ordered, watching as 24 projectiles arced through the darkness toward their underwater target. The engagement that followed demonstrated the systematic nature of advanced anti-submarine warfare. Multiple explosions at 022718 confirmed direct hits on the RO-106's pressure hull, the contact-fused warheads penetrating steel plating and detonating inside the submarine's compartments with devastating effectiveness. Lieutenant Commander Ohashi and his crew of 38 men died instantly as the submarine's hull ruptured under explosive pressure that no submarine design could withstand. The RO-106, which had successfully evaded Allied anti-submarine forces for 8 months, was destroyed in less than 5 minutes of engagement with technological systems that rendered traditional evasion tactics ineffective. "Target destroyed, massive debris field rising to surface," reported Morrison, confirming the third submarine kill in 4 days through technological superiority that exceeded Japanese submarine countermeasures. But the England was just beginning its systematic elimination of the Japanese NA patrol line. Intelligence intercepts revealed the positions of 3 remaining submarines whose communications had been completely compromised by American cryptanalysts. Each boat represented another target for technological systems that guaranteed destruction through scientific application of advanced weaponry. The mathematical progression was becoming undeniable. 3 submarines destroyed in 4 days represented anti-submarine success rates that exceeded all previous Pacific warfare statistics. The England's crew was demonstrating that modern technology could transform underwater hunting from prolonged searches into rapid target elimination. May 23, 1944. The 4th submarine kill came with mechanical efficiency that stunned even the England's experienced crew. The RO-104, commanded by Lieutenant Shigeru Furukawa, was detected at 0445 hours and destroyed at 0452 hours, 7 minutes from initial contact to confirmed target destruction. The engagement followed the same pattern that had proven effective against previous targets. Sonar contact maintained throughout the approach, Hedgehog fired at optimal range, contact detonation confirming submarine destruction. The systematic nature of the attacks demonstrated technological superiority that made Japanese submarine defense impossible. 4 submarines in 5 days, noted Lieutenant Miller in his personal log. The Hedgehog system, combined with communications intelligence, has made anti-submarine warfare a mathematical certainty rather than uncertain pursuit. The psychological impact on surviving Japanese submarine commanders was documented through intercepted communications that revealed growing panic among NA patrol line boats. The systematic destruction of experienced crews using proven equipment was challenging fundamental assumptions about Japanese submarine invincibility. May 24, 1944. The RO-116, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Yozo Matsumura, attempted evasive tactics that had proven effective against conventional depth charge attacks. Emergency diving, radical course changes, and silent running procedures that had saved Japanese submarines from Allied destroyers for 30 months proved ineffective against sonar systems that maintained positive contact through all evasive maneuvers. The England's 5th submarine kill occurred at 0634 hours when Hedgehog projectiles penetrated the RO-116's pressure hull during an emergency dive that should have provided escape from surface attack. The contact-fused warheads exploded inside the submarine's ballast tanks, creating hull breaches that caused immediate flooding and structural collapse. Target destroyed, heavy oil slick and debris field confirming submarine elimination. Morrison reported with professional satisfaction that reflected growing confidence in technological systems that guaranteed successful outcomes. The industrial capacity supporting the England's operations represented another crucial advantage that Japanese submarine tactics couldn't counter. Unlimited ammunition supplies allowed sustained anti-submarine operations without logistical constraints, while advanced maintenance capabilities kept sonar and weapons systems operating at peak effectiveness throughout continuous combat operations. The crew training that had prepared the England for anti-submarine excellence was demonstrating systematic superiority over Japanese submarine countermeasures. Every engagement validated training procedures that emphasized technological proficiency over traditional naval tactics. May 26, 1944, the sixth and final submarine kill completed the systematic elimination of the Japanese NA patrol line in just 12 days. The RO-105, commanded by Lieutenant Tadao Yokoi, was detected through communications intelligence and destroyed using the same technological systems that had proven effective against 5 previous targets. The engagement followed the established pattern: sonar contact at 0521 hours, approach to optimal firing position, Hedgehog attack at 0529 hours, confirmed target destruction through debris field analysis. The mathematical precision of advanced anti-submarine warfare had eliminated an entire Japanese submarine patrol line through systematic application of technological superiority. Captain Hartley, observing the England's unprecedented success, documented the strategic implications in classified reports that captured the transformation of Pacific underwater warfare. The USS England has demonstrated that advanced technology combined with communications intelligence can eliminate submarine threats with certainty that traditional anti-submarine methods could never achieve. This technological superiority provides decisive advantages in underwater warfare. The statistical reality was overwhelming. 6 Japanese submarines destroyed in 12 days using advanced weapon systems that achieved 100% target destruction rates. The England had proven that modern anti-submarine warfare could guarantee successful outcomes through scientific application of technological advantages. The psychological impact extended beyond tactical victories to encompass complete transformation of submarine warfare doctrine. Japanese submarine tactics, based on stealth and evasion, had become obsolete when facing detection systems that maintained positive contact and weapons that ensured target destruction through direct hits. The systematic annihilation was complete, accomplished through technological revolution that rendered traditional submarine warfare tactics ineffective against advanced American anti-submarine capabilities. June 15, 1944. USS England anchored at Seidler Harbor, Manus Island. Lieutenant Commander Walton Pendleton stood on the bridge wing, watching the battle flags being hoisted to commemorate the most extraordinary anti-submarine achievement in naval history. 6 rising sun flags, 1 for each Japanese submarine, destroyed in 12 days, fluttered in the Pacific breeze as testimony to technological innovation that had revolutionized underwater warfare forever. Below decks, the England's crew gathered around sonarman First Class John Morrison as he carefully stenciled the 6th submarine silhouette on the ship's superstructure. The systematic precision of their achievement still seemed surreal. 6 enemy submarines eliminated with 0 misses, 0 survivors, and 0 damage to their own vessel. "Unbelievable," whispered Ensign Robert Roberts, staring at the submarine kill markings that represented more underwater victories than most destroyers achieved in entire war service. 12 days, 6 submarines, perfect record. What none of them could fully comprehend was that their achievement had fundamentally altered the strategic balance of Pacific naval warfare. The elimination of the Japanese NA submarine patrol line had removed the underwater barrier protecting Japanese supply lines to the Philippines, enabling American fleet operations that would culminate in the decisive Battle of the Philippine Sea just 4 days later. The mathematical reality of the England's success defied everything naval strategists thought they understood about submarine warfare. The traditional assumption that submarine hunting required weeks of searching, uncertain detection, and multiple attack runs had been completely overturned by technological systems that guaranteed target destruction through scientific application of advanced weaponry. Admiral Chester Nimitz, reviewing the England's combat reports at Pacific Fleet headquarters, documented the strategic implications in classified assessments that captured the transformation. The USS England has achieved anti-submarine results that exceed all previous Pacific warfare statistics. 6 confirmed submarine destructions in 12 days represents technological superiority that provides decisive advantages in underwater warfare operations. The Hedgehog system had proven itself the most effective anti-submarine weapon ever developed, achieving target destruction rates that conventional depth charges could never match. The contact-fused projectiles eliminated the guesswork that characterized traditional depth charge attacks, providing immediate confirmation of submarine destruction through direct hull penetration. But the England's success represented more than individual technological superiority. It embodied the systematic application of American industrial capacity and scientific innovation to naval warfare. The destroyer Escort itself was one of 563 vessels in its class, mass-produced using standardized components and advanced manufacturing techniques that Japanese shipyards couldn't match. The communications intelligence supporting the England's operations had demonstrated capabilities that Japanese submarine commanders never suspected. The complete penetration of Japanese naval codes allowed American forces to predict submarine movements with precision that made coordination a liability rather than tactical advantage. Commander Joseph Wenger, leading the Navy's cryptanalytic efforts, analyzed the intelligence value of the England's campaign. The systematic elimination of the NA patrol line validated communications intelligence as a decisive factor in anti-submarine warfare. Enemy submarine positions were known hours in advance, allowing optimal attack positioning that guaranteed successful engagement outcomes. The psychological impact on Japanese submarine operations extended far beyond the loss of 6 boats and their experienced crews. The systematic destruction had shattered Japanese confidence in submarine invincibility that had dominated Pacific underwater warfare for 30 months. Admiral Takeo Takagi, commanding the 6th Fleet submarine operations, attempted to analyze the systematic failures that had led to complete elimination of an entire patrol line. American anti-submarine capabilities have achieved breakthrough improvements that render our traditional tactics ineffective. The systematic destruction suggests technological advances that exceed our intelligence estimates. The human cost of the England's success was documented with mathematical precision that reflected the totality of submarine destruction. 236 Japanese submariners had died during the 12-day campaign, experienced crews whose training and expertise had required years to develop and could never be replaced under wartime conditions. But the strategic value extended beyond immediate tactical results to encompass fundamental transformation of Pacific naval operations. The elimination of the submarine barrier had enabled Admiral Raymond Spruance to position Task Force 58 for the Battle of the Philippine Sea without facing coordinated underwater attacks that could have crippled American carrier operations. The Battle of the Philippine Sea, beginning June 19, 1944, validated the strategic importance of the England's anti-submarine campaign. American carriers operated with confidence that no Japanese submarines could interfere with flight operations, enabling the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot that destroyed Japanese carrier aviation as an effective fighting force. Vice Admiral Mark Mitcher, commanding Task Force 58, acknowledged the England's contribution in operational reports. The elimination of Japanese submarine threats by USS England enabled unrestricted carrier operations that proved decisive in establishing air superiority. Without submarine interference, our aircraft achieved results that fundamentally altered the strategic balance in the Pacific. The technological lessons learned from the England's campaign influenced anti-submarine warfare development throughout the remainder of the Pacific War. Hedgehog systems were installed on additional destroyer escorts, while training programs emphasized the systematic approaches that had proven so effective against Japanese submarines. The industrial production supporting these improvements demonstrated American capacity to apply technological innovations across entire fleets faster than enemies could develop countermeasures. By war's end, over 400 American anti-submarine vessels carried Hedgehog systems that had proven their effectiveness through the England's pioneering operations. Lieutenant Hugh Miller, the England's anti-submarine warfare officer, would later serve as an instructor at the Anti-Submarine Development Detachment, teaching techniques that had eliminated 6 submarines in 12 days. The key was combining advanced technology with superior intelligence and systematic tactical application. We transformed submarine hunting from uncertain pursuit into mathematical certainty of target destruction. The crew members who had achieved this unprecedented success carried their expertise throughout the Pacific Fleet, disseminating tactical knowledge that improved anti-submarine effectiveness across all theater operations. The England's methods became standard doctrine for destroyer escort operations against Japanese submarine threats. The post-war analysis revealed the complete scope of technological transformation that the England had demonstrated. Japanese submarine design, tactics, and training that had dominated Pacific underwater warfare had become obsolete when facing advanced American detection systems and forward-firing weapons that ensured target destruction. The memorial services held for the Japanese submariners who died during the campaign acknowledged the professional competence of crews who had been overwhelmed by technological superiority rather than tactical failures. The systematic destruction reflected American innovation rather than Japanese incompetence. Admiral William Bull Halsey, reviewing Pacific anti-submarine statistics, provided the definitive assessment of the England's achievement. The USS England demonstrated that advanced technology applied systematically can achieve results that exceed all previous naval warfare expectations. 6 submarines eliminated in 12 days represents a technological revolution in underwater warfare. The England's record would never be equaled. No other warship in naval history would achieve comparable anti-submarine success through systematic application of advanced technology and superior intelligence. The destroyer escort had established a standard of anti-submarine excellence that would endure as long as submarines threatened surface vessels. On Veterans Day, 1969, 25 years after their historic achievement, the surviving crew members of the USS England gathered at the Naval War College for a reunion that celebrated their contribution to American naval victory. Lieutenant Commander Pendleton, now retired as captain, delivered remarks that captured the essence of their accomplishment. "We didn't just sink 6 submarines in 12 days. We demonstrated that American technological innovation could transform warfare itself. The Hedgehog system, communications intelligence, and systematic tactical application created capabilities that our enemies couldn't counter through traditional methods. We proved that scientific approaches to combat could achieve results that individual heroism alone could never accomplish." The England's battle flags, preserved at the Naval Historical Center, remain testimony to the most successful anti-submarine campaign in naval history. Those 6 rising sun flags represent more than tactical victories. They embody the technological revolution that established American naval supremacy for the remainder of the Pacific War. The legend that began with Ensign John England's heroic death at Pearl Harbor had culminated in technological triumph that honored his sacrifice through systematic destruction of the submarine force that had threatened American naval operations. The destroyer escort bearing his name had achieved immortality through innovation that changed naval warfare forever. In 12 days, the USS England had eliminated an entire Japanese submarine patrol line, enabled decisive American victory in the Battle of the Philippine Sea, and demonstrated technological capabilities that would dominate underwater warfare for decades to come. The systematic annihilation stood as eternal testimony to American industrial might applied through scientific innovation to achieve impossible victories.